Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome to the East West Show. Jack Chow on the East West Show with Glory with Jin E TV. Today, the glory is add up because I have a great friend for a long time from the beautiful city Pasadena visiting me. He is a big guy in Pasadena. If you look at the news, you will know that he is the vice mayor of Great Pasadena. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Jack. Happy to be here.
Very good. I really wish everybody reads his bio on his website. Not his website, city website, the public website. And I would say that Mr. Kennedy has traveled so much. Why he puts up such an excellent leadership? Why is he such a leader for organizations, such a leader for people? Because he is well-traveled. He is very well-traveled. And in Chinese proverb, we have one big saying that you walk for 10,000 miles, that will exceed the amount of reading 10,000 books.
Ooh, very good.
Yeah, they encourage people to walk around to see different things, right? Now I have on the record, the city record, this great man of Pasadena has traveled to China, Taiwan, Egypt, Kenya, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Nigeria, the Gambia, Morocco, Spain, Portugal, Hungary, Poland, Czech Republic, and also Slovakia, and Morocco, Siberia, Australia, Germany, Italy, Ireland, Greek, Turkey, Israel, Mexico, Southland, and Ireland. There is almost nowhere left that you have not stepped on to.
No, I am very much interested in the cultures of other countries and the people of other countries. And the reason I'm interested in that is because in 1956, President Dwight Eisenhower started a program called People to People. Mm-hmm. And an offshoot of that same time period was an organization called Sister Cities. And I have participated in this program that was started by U.S. President Dwight Eisenhower since 1956. I went to Austria, Germany, Italy, Hungary, Yugoslavia, and Greece at the young age of 17 and stayed with families in Greece, Austria, and also in Germany. And it's just a way to break down artificial barriers between people of different ethnic groups, people of different culture. And so I've had a life of desiring to learn something more about other lands and other people.
No wonder Pasadena elected you as the vice mayor for the 3rd district. And no wonder people like you that much. And no wonder not only you won a big time, because people like the leadership who knows the world.
I think it's critically important because the world is shrinking that we learn how to not just coexist, but appreciate the differences and work together for a better world, a better society, a better community, because we really are the world community.
And also, I noticed that you traveled, very well traveled, in China. Oh. Which cities did you go in China?
Well, first of all, China is one of the most exciting countries in the world. And it has such a rich history, thousands and thousands of years. Some say as old as 10,000 years is this civilization. And I've been to, of course, Beijing, Shanghai, Suzhou, Hangzhou, Xi'an, Xichang District, Kunming, and a whole host of other countries. I've also even been to Taiwan, and I've enjoyed each city in China, because of its uniqueness, each city has a character that I appreciate. And the food from one city to the next city is not just nuanced, it's actually can be very different.
Totally different food, right?
Very.
And the language dialect too.
The dialect, so shishe.
Hey, 谢谢. Okay, very good. You know 谢谢. All right, good. And the reason I put this on top of our discussion is that I want to build up a foundation of our discussion, of our interview. I've been here in this country, in California, namely, not moving a step out of California for 36 years.
Wow.
I witnessed the city of Pasadena at least, right, from the old time till right now.
Yes.
There was a time Pasadena was not that famous for this people-friendly.
Correct.
And there's a concept, right?
Correct.
And some even say, excuse me if I'm saying anything wrong. You can say, Jack, stop it. You're saying wrong. What you're saying wrong.
Sure.
There was even a time people say Pasadena is very white. Well, I know it's hurtful to say so, but that was a time, right? Well, as time goes by, things are changing, especially now you look at the council members, you see some Asian face. And you're there, sir. And with the experience, with the well-traveled experience, worldwide experience, no wonder, no question, you want to imbue the city life with the new element. Am I right?
I think you have captured, in a very kind way, the past of Pasadena. It was, in fact, a city that was not very ethnically diverse and actually discriminating against minorities. And so we've made significant progress in the city of Pasadena. I might say that we have an Asian who is also on the city council in the city of Pasadena.
Yes.
We're looking forward to one day having a Chinese member of the city council. Certainly within city government in Pasadena, there are many, many Chinese, and one of the highest population increases, we see it in Asian community, strong in the Pasadena community. And there was a time in a southern part of Pasadena and also in San Marino where whites derogatorily referred to Chinese. That is not the case now because San Marino and parts of Pasadena are significantly Chinese. And what we have found about the Chinese community is that they're hyper intelligent, very community oriented, very family oriented, and really want to fit in and build community. They're not necessarily wanting to be separated. They want to be a part of and build a better community. So we're very happy about our new and growing Asian population in the city of Pasadena. It's welcome. The community is welcome and highly respected. As it relates to African Americans, that's a whole nother history that is diverse, and it would be too long for me to go into detail there, but let me just say this. There are 2 African Americans on the city council in Pasadena, not by accident. There was a hard fight.
Of course.
Hard fight to make sure that African Americans were represented, are represented. But what I love about my time in Pasadena in a leadership role is my desire to strengthen the relationship between the community here and the community that exists in China and the Chinese diaspora throughout the world. I think that's important because I look at China as a roaring tiger, a roaring tiger.
All right.
And economically, culturally, politically, educationally, and I am extremely impressed by the Chinese people and the Chinese culture. It's a very old culture, and just recently, I might add that famous Chinese educators, geneticists have found that there is a direct link between Chinese and Africa. And at one point, I thought Chinese were a different offshoot, but we have now genetically proven that the Chinese are directly, as we thought, some thought, directly linked to Africa.
Yeah, you're right. You're perfectly right. First, let's say thank you very much, sir, for being honest about the past of Pasadena. And thank you very much for your leadership, for your vision, for your hope of prosperity of the city of Pasadena. Speaking of the root of the Chinese origin and the African origin, and it so coincidentally happened that lately I've been helping a friend of mine with the translation of his what is that? There's the anthology study, right? And from which he found that
Anthropology.
Anthropology. I'm sorry. Anthropology, from which he found that we are, as a matter of fact, from the same root.
Yeah.
We belong, according to his book, the same branch. Only we took, during the winter time, when there's ice everywhere, different walk through the ice to different ways. And then part of which dropped off in the land where China is, part of them continued across the Siberia area to Berlin Sea, all the way down to Alaska and down to America, and landed even here as the Indians.
Yes, yes.
Right.
So
what an excellent world. We're one.
I'm so impressed with this new research, and at some point in our recent past, Asians, not just Chinese, but other Asians, were derogatorily referred to by the slant of their eyes, but we don't do that anymore. Those are beautiful almond eyes. And what I found in the southern part of Africa, there are actually Africans with almond eyes, very, very similar to the eyes that you see with Asian people, Chinese people, Japanese people, Taiwanese people from Thailand, etc. So it's actually beautiful.
In other words, we all have human eyes. That's it. We all have human eyes.
There it is.
My dear friend, my lovely audience, today it is our pleasure, my pleasure, and the pleasure of my team to have such a great man from Pasadena visiting us. And first, we did build a foundation of our interview. We're talking about we, the people, we are really human beings. There is no color, no what kind of a blood, what kind of eyes. We breathe the same air. We speak the same language. We love the same love. That's it. We are human. That's a good starting point. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll take care of all the issues one by one. Thank you very much. Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow, once again getting excited every time when I meet somebody that speaks my language. I call it my language.
Yeah.
I love peace, man. I love the world. I love the love, right?
For sure.
I get excited. With me today is my dear friend, Honorable John J. Kennedy, Vice Mayor for Pasadena. By the way, the Vice Mayorship for Pasadena and the mayorship is not a rotation position, right?
No, the mayor is actually elected.
Elected,
and
yes.
That's a departure of how it used to be, where they were rotated. But now the mayor is elected, and the vice mayor is selected by his or her colleagues, but the council, to serve as the vice mayor for a two-year term. Two-year term.
I would like to emphasize that things doesn't happen for no reason.
Yes.
This whole world you look around, there's nothing for no reason, right? That's why the reason why he's selected as a vice mayor. Of course, elected as city council and is selected as vice mayor. But at the time when he was running his election, re-election, and also going through the selection system, at that time, I paid huge attention to every step that things move. Right? I knew he will win, but he won good time. That's the difference. Anyway, back to the issue. Pasadena is a good issue, good city. That's why I named the show for today an old city. By that I mean tradition, right? But a new world. By that I mean with a loss of hope.
Yes.
With lots of hope, right? So now I've noticed. Oh, by the way, I owe my audience a little background information. Vice Mayor Kennedy has been also one time and the deputy chief police in charge of administration service for the Richmond Police Department for the Commonwealth of Virginia, right? And also he is the man with a double degree in economy and social science. And yet he is also a doctor of Howard Law School. I wonder, how many achievements can a human being achieve within one lifetime? That's a lot.
If the person recognizes their mortality and their humanity and is functioning to advance culture, they know that they have a limited amount of time here on the earth to do good. So as you become mature, you learn what is important in life. And the objective is to do as much good as you can to build community, to build people, to provide education, to provide clean water, provide free education, to access to a quality education and immunization, not just in the United States, but in China, in Africa, and in every continent. So you have to speed up what you're doing to help humanity. And so now, at the age of 57, I understand what I must do.
So people define you as a civic leader, community organizer, and politically they call you an elected official who calls for peace, who calls for diversity. So you're everything. Right?
No, I'm not everything, but I'm committed to.
I'm convinced of your commitment.
I'm committed to building community, community here at home, and community abroad. Because as you said earlier, we are in fact one people, and we can't let ignorance separate us. Ignorance separate us. We cannot allow it.
Mm-hmm. That's I would say, that's the smartest wisdom of a human being. And nowadays, we're misled too much. We're misled too much, right? So if as a body, we feel the itch, we scratch.
Yes.
And we continue to scratch. We continue to scratch until we ruin the skin.
Yes.
And later it gets infection.
Yes.
And later we're going to see a doctor.
Yes.
Right? If we're lucky, we're not dying from it, but we leave a scar there.
Yes.
Right? The problem is that why are we itching? Why do we feel the itch? Can we stop it from the root cause? Your take, sir, with your experiences in dealing with the people, because you are all your life are dealing with people, with the service, with the community, all kinds of. Let's stop the issue how we can start it from point A instead of point Z.
Okay. Point A always has to be providing a quality education for young people, irrespective of race, ethnicity, income level. And those who would prevent a quality education from going forward are those who would like to control us. We don't want to be controlled. We want to be respected, whether we live in China, in a small village, or in the rural areas of China, whether we live in Appalachia in the United States, or whether we live in Los Angeles, or whether we live in Starkville, Mississippi, or Newberry, South Carolina. We must, as leaders, provide access to a quality education. And what's happening in America right now is not good for America. We must educate all children. And what we are doing is we're seeing that we're falling behind. California, for example, used to lead the nation in per capita spending on education. Now we are close to the bottom. That makes absolutely no sense. But it's not just about California. It's about building a nation where a nation is not a warring nation, but an intelligent nation, and recognizing the beauty of others who are different or who have not been born in this country. And let me say this. The immigrant community built America, and we need to welcome the immigrant community. They are law-abiding. They provide to the multiplicity of the fabric that exists in our country. And anyone who does not recognize the beauty of the diversity that has come from all around the world to make America is not telling the truth. So let's tell the truth. Let's educate the populace, whether they be poor, middle class, or rich, and let them have the freedom to truly contribute at every level in making this a better world, a better country, a better state, a better local community.
I'm, sir, totally convinced. I can't be convinced anymore that education is the A point.
Yes.
Is the A point. And what more is that you not only emphasize the fact that we got to start with the education as the A point, but also you stretch the A to make it clear. A is the making understanding to our kids at the very bottom level that diversity is the beauty, it's not a trouble.
Yes.
Now, including the federal level, they take diversity as a level. There are so many diversity, how am I handling it?
Yes.
So our ancestors has handled already. Look at the old time when we started building the Pan-American Railways.
Yes.
Right? Look at the time when the Southern California, it's the western part of Southern California, how it got developed.
Yes.
Right? Well, it's the immigration that started the whole thing and did the fundamental work. Most of the time, the most hardest work.
Yes.
Right? Okay. And then now looking at Pasadena, when they look around for a house, nobody will not look at Pasadena. Nobody will not. Pasadena is there first. And the PCC, if they want to learn English though, is the school that everybody wants to go because they need a starting point. So that gives the city of Pasadena an extra burden. Do you think so?
Well, educationally, Pasadena City College is one of the top colleges of its kind in the United States.
It is.
It has enjoyed a reputation as being at one point in the top 2 junior colleges in the United States. Approximately 50% of the population that attends Pasadena City College happens to be ethnic Chinese. Secondly, we have the California Institute of Technology, and at least 35% of the student body at the California Institute of Technology is ethnic Chinese. It's a very diverse place. Also, we have the Art Center of Design, where approximately 40% of the student body happens to be ethnic Chinese. And at the Pasadena Art Center of Design, 60% of those graduates have designed almost all of the automobiles on the road today, right here from Pasadena. Those graduates.
Of the art school, on the campus, I wonder if you had noticed, there is a horse, wooden horse. Wooden horse build, you could never imagine what they build that horse use. Right? They use wood chips. They use wood roots. Abandoned cans. Those weighted stuff, and they look at the horse. Nobody will tell that is going to be a priceless art piece. Right? So that is the outcome of Pasadena City College and that art school. Right? So I believe if our kids learn from a foundation of that, right? Well, even the thrown can be used to make
very important.
such a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Even the wood chips can be used for such a big, wonderful masterpiece.
Yes.
So nobody is a waste.
Nobody's a waste.
Nobody's a waste.
Yes.
Everybody, right?
Contributing.
Contributing.
Yes.
Give them a chance.
Give them an opportunity.
Give them a chance. And I'll ask my graphic people to put the horse on the big screen to prove my point.
Okay.
Right? I'll ask my cameraman, also editor, Jonathan Cham, Jonathan, he is hearing that, I believe, to put the horse there to indicate the point.
Yes.
Sir, I respect you a lot. Remember the lunch that you and I have?
Yes, of course.
About a year or something ago,
yes,
right?
Sure.
And I did take a good lesson. I learned a lot from you. I'm a man of homework, a man of thoughts. I think why Pasadena is changing that fast is because they have the necessity there. What are the necessity? The man. What are the man? The man with a new concept. All right?
I don't know if that's
no,
totally
I'm using
true,
the plural term. I'm using the plural term. I'm not talking about M-A-N, maybe
yes.
M-E-N, all right?
But let me say this. A city that's well governed, that is building people and eliminating barriers and establishing bridges of understanding is a city that has the potentiality to move. And it must happen by intentional behavior. These things just don't happen in a vacuum. Someone has to step forward and say
You're right.
that we have to stand for justice. We have to stand for opportunity for all. We must build the educational base of the populace. We must do what's right in terms of managing the limited resources and taking the artificial barriers off of the human mind, which is infinite, not finite, infinite. And what I mean by that, when you eliminate artificial barriers, the human mind can do extraordinary things in terms of solving the complex problems that exist today in society. And that's what a good leader does.
All right.
In my
very
view.
good, very good. Thank you very much, sir. I believe that seeing is believing. You go check with the Pasadena, and you tell me, is the Pasadena now looking the same way like 5-6 years ago? No. The answer is no. All right. Okay, let's take a short moment out, sir, my dear audiences. When we come back, we'll pick up other areas. We also want to talk about the Pasadena traffic, Pasadena safety, Pasadena budget stuff, putting together. See, people, land, money, right?
People, land, money. Okay.
Yeah, all right, good.
Okay.
Good. Hello, dear friends, lovely audience. Welcome back to the show. I'm getting a little excited, so that's why I do not keep a good time track of each segment. I don't worry, I have a best team behind me. I don't worry about that. Jonathan can do the job. The point is that I am with this great man, my dear friend, Vice Mayor of Pasadena, Mr. Kennedy, from whom I learned a lot. I admire his set of mind. He loves people. In his eye, there's no color. He is colorblind. And there's no race. He is racial blind. And human, we are all human beings. And with that as a starting point, though, you look at Pasadena, you will see lots of change. Right?
Yes.
And I went there a few times recently. Of course, I told you, I've been here 36 years. Pasadena is never a stranger to me, right? So I know exactly. But right now I see cleaner street. I see more comfortable people, right? I even see better traffic, right? So how did you do the job? How did you guys do the job or unless you have extra amount of money or tons of money whatsoever.
No, so right now.
So that's why I say the land, people, land, and the money.
Well, certainly we have some of the most brilliant people, not just in America, but in the world, in Pasadena, because we have the California Institute of Technology there, which is considered the leading technical institution in the world. We also have the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and my father was a chauffeur and bodyguard for the founder of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
Wow, what a tradition.
The founder is Dr. Theodore von Karman, and Dr. von Karman was a Hungarian Jew who fled all of the bad things that Hitler was doing in the East. And he came to the California Institute of Technology as a professor. His mind was as sharp as Albert Einstein, and they were colleagues. And my father had the good fortune of protecting Dr. Theodore von Karman. And ultimately, I also worked for the Jet Propulsion Laboratory with the top secret security clearance.
I see.
But as it relates to the issue of transportation, the city is being exceptionally intentional about how we design transportation systems in the city. And it has not been without some controversy because we refer to it as building road diets. And really a road diet is really using best-in-class science to get people from one point to another point. That's it in a nutshell. And so there have been residents who have been concerned about how we've constricted certain streets and how we've opened certain streets, how we've limited egress and ingress. But in Pasadena, we have a rich history of community involvement. And so now we're listening to the community and we're making necessary adjustments as it relates to transportation issues. As it relates to the cleanliness of the city, that's one of my greatest priorities, and certainly I've sought to have local government focused on making sure that our city stays clean. I think people feel good about a city.
You know, when the street is clean, though, you do not see it, you smell it. You smell the cleanliness.
Yes.
Right? You see it, you smell it, and then you started the creativities. Me as a poet, I would probably put words together for it. That's the moment. Right? So
I like that.
I'm a crazy guy. Never take me serious, but I'm a crazy guy. Like, anyway, I'm talking about the necessity for a city to have those clean streets.
As a mild departure, I don't think poetry makes you a crazy guy. I think it makes you part of the fabric of education, intelligence, telling a story that the community now can appreciate and the community in the future can appreciate. Because
only in a poetic way.
In a poetic way.
Because
that way in which you communicate using poetry, it helps people to remember. Remember ideas. Remember how we can move forward together. So I would applaud you for being a poet.
Thank you.
And at every inauguration of a president of the United States, we have a poet that provides a special poem for the inauguration. And so hopefully one day the president of the United States would ask you to come to Washington, D.C. and share one of your
I don't have
poems.
to ask. He will ask me. You ask me. Your re-election, your re-inauguration whatsoever, Jack will walk in with a beautiful poem for you.
Oh, I appreciate that, Jack.
I will sing for Pasadena for the lucky people to have the right leader do the job. Right. That's the fact. That's the fact. You want to sing for it. So this whole world is like this, all right? When there is only three apples, yet people want 5. And as the physical eye will see, there are 1, 2, 3 apples on the table. You know what a poet say? The poetic eye say?
What?
There are some apples on the table. And then somebody will even say, there are lots of apples. You call for it. You push for it.
Yes.
You call for it with your heart.
Yes.
Right? Of course, the poet himself might not be the one jumping on the first apple, right?
Yes.
So he does the singing part. Right?
Yes.
I will sing for Pasadena to have more apples. That's my mind, okay? I like that because I immediately realized that you understand poem.
Well, I think the brilliance of poetry oftentimes is that it speaks to the aspirations and encourage people to be better than they are today.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
that's why poetry has been used at every recent inauguration to lift the people, to give them aspiration, give them hope. And it's good to know that part of your foundation, Jack, is in poetry. That's beautiful.
We at EDI do a lot of the stuff. We not only do event, we sing for positivities. We sing for positivities. We pray for positivity. We do a lot. So between you and me, let's make a date. Your re-election on your inauguration, I come in.
All right, thank you.
Okay, now to the city. They say lots of money come from a business, right? The business is the backbone of the city. As a matter of fact, oh, by the way, my son runs his office in your city.
Oh, fantastic.
He runs his business in your city.
Fantastic.
Because of the love of Pasadena.
Yes.
Right. Is Pasadena business friendly?
Of course, Pasadena is business friendly. We have businesses that are coming to Pasadena on actually a daily basis, and we've dedicated an economic development area of the city that is run by a gentleman by the name of Eric Dysart. And Eric is available to businesses who are considering moving or relocating to the city of Pasadena and existing businesses. And we provide counseling services. We provide access to real estate documents that would be helpful to those who would like to be a part of the community. We have one of the extraordinary companies, Alphabet, their Alibaba division here in the city of Pasadena, and that's Alibaba Film is located or headquartered in the city of Pasadena.
Oh, by Jack Ma.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
I
But
see.
Alibaba Film Division. And there are a whole host of other very strong businesses that have come that are internet based, and those are also in my district that I represent on the city council. And they have come out of an entity called Ideal Lab. Ideal Lab. And that's located on Union. And I'm telling you, they're just extraordinary leaders who have a vision and want to take that vision, find capital to bring that vision to the marketplace. And so that happens a lot from the city of Pasadena. Just recently, I met with the CEO and chairman of Green Dot. And as you know, Green Dot is a multi-billion-dollar corporation now. I think the market cap is in excess of $7 million. But all of that started locally here in the city of Pasadena. So I'm excited about Pasadena. You had asked me about our tax base and the financials of the city. The financials of the city are quite healthy, but we are having some difficulty related to pensions. As you know, pensions very difficult to
That's
fund.
a universal problem.
A universal problem.
The whole United States.
Yes, and particularly funding pensions for our fire and police personnel. So the city of Pasadena wants to help with education, wants to help with our roads, want to help, as I said, with our pensions, and there are a whole host of deferred capital improvement projects that we just don't have the funds for at this point. And also, significant number of our fire stations have great need of being retrofitted to comply with state law. So in November, we're going to have I and J, the alphabets I and J, on the ballot. And what we're seeking to do there is create additional revenue by a minor increase in the sales tax, a minor increase, basically 3/4 of 1 cent.
Oh,
3/4 of one cent increase in the sales tax. We're very hopeful that would pass, and that will give some additional revenue to the city of Pasadena.
I believe as long as the city has the citizens that loves the city, though, they will do it. They will, when they realize that how big that will help the city, how great that will help the city, they will go for it.
I'm very hopeful because we've laid out also and are laying out a plan to educate the voters about this sales tax measure because the needs are great. Revenue has upticked only a little, and the needs keep growing, but the revenue to meet the needs has not moved up as fast as the need has. So this will help us start addressing some of those deferred issues, and we must do that to stay a great city. We must figure out this problem.
I believe with a city that has such a bright future, and that's such a great potentiality, though, I would say both the indigenous people and also the newcomers of Pasadena would go for it.
I'm very hopeful.
I don't have as much. I know Pasadena. I smell about Pasadena. I know people will go for it, right? So I hate to mention other people's names of other cities, but they are of different taste of people.
Yes.
So when you look at the way that Pasadena tastes, once again, I'm using a crazy term. To me, every city has its own fragrance. I taste it, right?
Yes.
Okay, my dear friend, let's take a very short moment out. When we come back, we go a little deeper in the future of Pasadena to see the development. All right, stay with us. Hello, dear friends. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow on the East West Show with GNE TV. Today we're talking about a great city. The subject for today, the title for today's show is An Old City but a New World. Why an old city? Because a city over 150 years. Why a new world? Because we have lots of hope there. Why we have lots of hope? Because we have the leadership, the healthy leadership. Why healthy? Because they think what humans should think. Yes. Bottom line.
But when you
forget politics.
But when you say old city, new world, we are not in comparison to China because China is 8,000 and China, we are a small little
China,
city, 150
China
years.
is
unique.
Is a new world in their own way.
Yes.
Pasadena is a new world in our own unique way.
Absolutely.
Right? We're new because, exactly what I'm talking about, how we make Pasadena new. Right?
Yes.
Okay, now, trying to be a new city, though. Oh, by the way, let me finish my lead line. With me today is the Vice Mayor of Pasadena, Mr. Kennedy, John J. Kennedy, not John F., John J. Kennedy. He is a man of tradition. He is a man of lots of credit, huge credit. That's why when I started the show, I said, how many achievements can a human being make during one lifetime? Well, there was no answer, of course, anyway. So save the time for the point, for the issue, though, anyway. All right. With a city, talking about a city with lots of tradition. By tradition, I am talking about Pasadena is the hometown for Admiral Patton, right?
General Patton.
General Patton is a homeland for Huntington Library.
Yes.
Right? And in Huntington Library, there's a Chinese garden.
Yes.
Right? And the land, and a home for PCC, such a great school.
Yes.
That even I go crazy about. Right? So with a lot of that, and you look north of Pasadena, that's the mountain, that's the hills, right?
Yes.
To the west of Pasadena, there's no land. To the east, there's no land. To the south, there is almost no land, right? So with a city with such a big home, with a limited available land, how do you as mayor look at the city future in terms of development, etc.?
So the dilemma is when you have a city that's almost fully built out and there's not a lot of developable land, you look how to blend the old with the new. And that's what we are doing in the city of Pasadena. We respect the historical architecture and foundation of our community, but at the same time, where there is lack of utility, we allow development. And along Colorado Boulevard, there is an opportunity to repurpose buildings. There's actually an opportunity to build out on the east of Colorado. So we are welcoming developers from around the region, if not around the world, to really take a strong look at Pasadena. We have a significant affordable housing crisis, if you will, but that crisis is not only located in Pasadena, it's located in the whole country and certainly the county. There are 69,000 people who are homeless in the county of Los Angeles, and our little city wants to do its part in creating affordable housing. As it relates to commercial development is welcomed in the city of Pasadena. There's some development that just really has not fit well with Pasadena. So we would welcome developers who would like to repurpose or redevelop, if you will, buildings that just don't make sense for the city of Pasadena.
Let me do a little insertion.
Yes,
as a
sir.
matter of fact, question to ask. You look around, you drive to the east part of Colorado, though, you see lots of the old homes, right? Old home, especially to the north part of it. So are you talking about the refurbishing possibly of the old homes, old structures?
So we do a couple of things in the city of Pasadena. It's very difficult, and we basically do not allow you to tear down a home that is considered historic. Matter of fact, I can say emphatically, we don't allow it. You have to refurbish it, keep it in its historic condition, and there's something called a Mills Act that is provided by the state of California that allows you to receive a significant discount on your property taxes if in fact you keep that residential property. The development that I'm referencing strongly is commercial development along Colorado. Colorado is our commercial corridor in the city of Pasadena. Even though we have other commercial corridors, Colorado is probably the longest in terms of length, as well as lake. But when you look at the communities that surround Colorado, a lot of those homes are historic, and they're called historic districts or landmark districts that have been designated by the Pasadena City Council as such. And so they receive a special blessing from the council, and they're eligible for what I refer to as a Mills Act, which allows you to reduce your taxes. So, for example, if you don't have the Mills Act on your property tax, M-I-L-L-S, M-I-L-L-S, Mills Act designation. And if you don't have the designation, let's say if you owed $1 million on your particular property, your property taxes could be as high as $30,000, but under the Mills Act, they could drop as low as to $6,000. But your commitment as the homeowner is to keep that property in its historic condition, and that makes for a beautiful mix of historic and new homes in the city of Pasadena.
What do Mills stand for?
I believe it refers to a person's name who was involved in historic preservation.
Okay, I'll go online and find
Yes.
out. All right, good. And that said, of course, that's a very complicated mind considering the city development, because you have lots of antiques that you can't touch, right? And you have lots of streets you want to keep it the original way, things like that. And you mentioned about Alibaba, you mentioned about Ideal Lib. Going high tech, probably that's the way out.
Well,
Let's get Google there. Let's get IBM there in Pasadena.
well, we have in my district that I represent on the city council an organization called Cross Campus on Raymond Avenue, and brilliant minds meet there, and many of those brilliant minds are establishing internet-based businesses. And I think internet-based businesses is a way of the future, whether it be cryptocurrency as a foundation for different economic platforms or some other way of revolutionizing and being part of the disruptive economy. Part of the disruptive economy is doing something different that has not been done before and making that something that can be monetized through advertisement or some other economic means. And so the world of the old economy is a foundation, but there is a new economy that's built upon either the old foundation or a new foundation that is completely different. And so where you begin life, meaning if you begin life poor, as long as you get a quality education, you do not have to end life poor. You can build a new economy. You can build new systems.
You can think another elevation.
Yes.
I noticed that just now you mentioned the cryptocurrency,
Yes.
right? If you elevate yourself on a thinking level from that point, though, there could be opening another or totally different world.
Absolutely. As an example, Jamie Dimon, who runs one of the largest hedge fund and financial services companies in the world, Jamie Dimon, initially said cryptocurrency was poo-poo. It wasn't real. Then he became educated and said his company needs to start cryptocurrency as well. So even the old can be taught the new and create economies that make the world better, or people who historically have not been players become players in the new economy.
All right, that's why we say that Pasadena is lucky. Pasadena City the citizens are lucky because their leaders are thinking in different ways, right? If you check around these days, our real problem is not our poverty, is that we poverishly thinking.
Poverty of the mind.
Poverty of the mind. We thinking poverishly.
Yes.
We think poverishly.
Yes.
Right? So in the old days, we call the noble education. They educate people to think in a noble way. If you always think like a beggar, a loaf of bread is only a loaf of bread, though, you will remain a beggar.
Yes.
Right. So I admire you, sir, for having that mindset. That, of course, not come out of nothing. That comes out of your education, your experiences, your contacting of people, and you're traveling so much of the world, right? If someday we open and tour to Mars, I believe you will jump on that one too, right? So to this man who travels so much, who experiences so much, who's on the council seat as a vice mayor, providing his service so much, we would see Pasadena has a bright future. We're a little over time, but we are happy about it. Plus, Jonathan can always take care of that. Cut me off, Jonathan. Anyway, so thank you, my dear friend, for watching. By the way, this is not going to be a first time or the last time, right? Come here often.
Thank you.
I believe my audience would like to see you.
Yes, thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here.
Very good. Right.
Thank you.